Now then, guys, welcome back to the latest episode of the Hull and Back podcast. We've got a couple of guests on with us today. We've got Benedict Ferriby from the hcafchub hub. How are you doing, Benedict?
I'm not bad.
Good. And then we've also got Jamie Turnbull. How are you today, Jamie? You all right?
Evening, boys. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, good. And then I'm also joined by Will and Nathaniel, as always. So before we start, I'll remember to do the partners and sponsors, because that's a bad thing to forget. So we've obviously got Hull City Retro. We all know what they do. They remake some classic shirts of ours from the 80s and 90s. Top quality shirts, affordable prices. We see them at near enough every game now. They're a part of the picture of the Hull City match day at the minute. Cracking shirts. I've got a few myself. We all get a few. We all love them, so do head over and give them a look. We've got the Charlie Spalding videographer. So he has boasted quite a portfolio. He's worked to the likes of Adidas. He does a lot of motorsports. He's been doing music videos with the likes. You know, go over check his Twitter feed. Some of the stuff he does is absolutely amazing. So if you want anybody to video an event of yours, do head over and book him. Absolutely great guy. And obviously we're content partners with FanHub. You know, the up and coming app. You're getting rewarded for following your club. You can check into stadiums, predict your lineup. You can win match tickets if you finish in the top 3. You've got a whole content section full of other content creators on there, and news and blogs, videos, the works are on there. So you've got all your Hull City information in one place. It's a great app. Keep your eye out for some golden ticket codes of ours to get on and jump the queue. And then last but not least, we do want you, we encourage the support to the Hull Badge Man. You know, the old tradition of standing outside the ground selling the badges. They are struggling at the minute. The COVID epidemic has really done them over at the minute, so they're looking for some support before they lose the online as well. So please do head over and donate to their fundraiser or buy some badges. Please support them. Right then, so we'll move straight on to the Cardiff game. Now, we all predicted. Did we all predict draws? Us three?
1-1.
Yeah. We all predicted draws. We won. We made it 3 in a row without conceding as well. I would say, in terms of its performance, would you say it was more of a defensive display, more of an attacking threat than us at the minute, Will? Would you say it was more of we scored and put our backs to the wall, or how would you describe it?
I don't think that would be a ridiculous thing to suggest. I thought we didn't play as well as we have in other games overall, I think. But we defensively, we were pretty solid for the most part. I don't think Cardiff missed a couple of really good chances, particularly at the end to score. But the team, there's a bit of grit in the team, it seems now, that they didn't seem to have a few games ago.
Yeah, I think I think I saw someone tweet and said we won ugly. We haven't been doing that. Well, we've not been winning, but it was an ugly win, and it's the kind of thing that we need to be doing more. Where we're under the cosh, but we don't make any defensive mistakes. We keep strong, we keep structured, and we hold them off. And for the most part, we did. A couple of scary moments, but we come through in the game with another clean sheet. Tough away game at Cardiff. They'd 1-2 on the bounce before that as well. So it was a tough place to come away with 3 points, but we did it. Made it 3 in a row. The goal, KLP header. Do we think he's back on his top form this season, Jamie? Do you think there's more to come from him, or?
Yeah, I like to think so. I think there's always a lot to come with King Lewis Potter. He's something else, isn't he? We've all seen him in the under 23s. We saw him in his debut season at Championship. Even then, he was having a good season. I just hope the rumours of him being watched by everyone and their dog ain't true. But yeah, he's something else, isn't he? He's just great. Reminds me of Bowen, to be fair. He's learning a lot as well. Every game he seems to learn more and more.
I think he's
in his locker, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's going to be key to us staying up this season because for the most part, Wilkes doesn't look to the levels he was last season, and I think, in my opinion, King Lewis Potter looks better this season than he did last, and we're a level above. Maybe that's more of him, trying to shoulder some responsibility himself and try and single-handedly win games. But he definitely looks. Do you think he looks more dangerous on the right, Nathaniel, or would you prefer to have him as he usually does, cutting in from the left?
I can't really remember him. He's been really impressive recently, and he has scored a few goals. But I think the main thing that he's doing really well at the moment is kind of dribbling with the ball and getting it forward rather than maybe putting crosses in. So I don't know whether that matters which side he's on at the moment. But as long as he's in the team, And I guess because I think they have him and Longman have been switching around all the time. So I think they're probably just as good either side, especially in this new formation we're playing.
Yeah, funny you mentioned the system actually, because we all thought that with the suspension to Bernard that we'd obviously go back to a 4-3-3 because McCann has proven before. Well, yeah, not all of us, but McCann has proven that when he gets the chance to go straight back to the 4-3-3, he does. And he had the perfect opportunity to do so. You know, we're missing one of our back three. But he brought Elder into the left centre-back role, which is what we predicted. Will Nathaniel won it? Oh, was it Will? No, it was Will. I'm not giving Nathaniel credit for that. Yeah, Elder at left centre-back, and then even then, when he went off injured and he could have gone back to a 4-3-3, he brought Huddleston on into the centre-back, put Greaves back on the left, which was madness for me, but still worked, and we kept another clean sheet. In regards to the system then, Benedict, do you think that the 3-5-2 leaves us... Does it make us more defensively solid? Do you think it's better than the 4-3-3? Does it plug some holes?
Yeah, I'd say it would. I think obviously with Sean McLaughlin coming in as well, I think I do think he's really one of the most underrated centre backs in the whole league. You see him every game he's played. He's looked a lot more composed maybe than I don't like to slate Alfie Jones because I think he's been brilliant, but I think now the way that McLaughlin's come in, I think Alfie Jones have his work cut out to get back in. And obviously, all three of them now seem to have gelled as a unit. I think having Baxter as well behind them suited them a lot more. So I think he's a bit more commanding. He likes to just get on with it. Whereas Ingram, you see it as well. Sometimes he used to, we get the ball from across and he'd spend about 30 seconds trying to throw it out, whereas Baxter likes to get on with it. So I think it's allowed us to become defensively solid. Yes, at times there's been occasions where the opposition have got round the back of us, but with the pace of especially Bernard seems to get everywhere. So I think it is benefiting us massively, and then it allows the attacking players a lot more freedom to be a bit more direct and run at the opposition. Yeah,
I think it also brings the best out of Smallwood, because I think in the 4-3-3 system the midfield's far too isolated, and there's too much ground for Smallwood to cover in a 4-3-3, in my opinion. With the 3-5-2, and he's got them three defenders sat behind him, he doesn't have to do as much pressing or as tracking down. He literally just stays in his hole and he cleans up what he has to. Obviously, a large part of that's going to be down to Honeyman and Doherty's form of late and their ability to be box to box, come down support, and then progressively take the ball up the pitch. But to me, in the 3-5, because the second tier pod asked me the other day, they were saying why they've never seen a change in tactics work so well. Like, we've literally gone from being completely abject and terrible to winning 4 on the bounce, and it was literally just a change of system. I mean, they asked me why that would be, and I mean, like you touched on it yourself, you know, Sean McLaughlin's come and been absolutely brilliant. It's probably then in turn gets the best out of Smallwood, who then, you know, Greaves and Bernard can bring it up the pitch. You've got Longman and KLP giving us width options. Is the only criticism then of the system at the minute, Will, or maybe the only weak point of it, the forwards? Because obviously we're playing McGuinness and Wilkes. Are we looking for an excuse to get Tyler Smith in, or is Wilkes just sort of untouchable at the minute? What would be the desired front two?
I mean, firstly, I think while the formation has helped, I think we did win against Barnsley with a 4-3-3, which was it wasn't just the formation that was the issue, I'd say, because we can perform in that formation. Just they just seem to have a better standing of things when playing the 3-5-2. On the subject of the forwards, it's weird because I think the forwards, for the most part, it's when you look at how we go forward, they seem to have very little bearing on our attacks, considering they're the forwards. Almost all our attacks come from our midfield. All our chances come from the midfield or the wide men. And it is weird how McGuinness and Wilkes, particularly Wilkes, don't have great games. I thought McGuinness was fine the last couple of games, but Wilkes in particular just has not shown up whatsoever, and yet he still gets picked. And I'm wondering what someone like Tyler Smith, who would play in a similar way as one of the two strikers, has to do to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's questions in there that Tyler Smith might be injured. I think he said in his press conference that both the Smiths got a knock, and that's why they weren't in the squad. But
That's
like
fine.
you say,
That's the reason. But
yeah, but I mean, like
weird how he doesn't.
as you said about like in terms of the forwards, not really. Well, they're not scoring goals at the minute, either of them. It's coming from the wing backs in the midfield. But do you think maybe that hold up ability up front? So McGuinness seems to be playing okay, and Wilkes isn't a hold up player. That's not what he does. He wants to be getting in behind, and with him not doing
he holds
that,
up our play.
yeah, for the most part, yeah, definitely. But you know, when you got a front two, you want him one to knock on the ball to the other, and McGuinness is holding it up, and it goes out wide, and we create our chances that way. Wilkes isn't really getting in the game for me. So coming on to then,
and when he does get involved, his decision making is just absolutely shocking.
Yeah,
he thinks he can do it all himself, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what question I'm trying to get at because I don't. He's not going to get dropped, is he? So here we are talking about him, but he's in the team. I mean, to be fair, if McCann's going to go into the game against who have we got next, Reading, with any player to drop, are we saying that Wilkes is probably the only candidate to do so? Jamie, would you agree? Just Wilkes? Would you keep the same team?
Yeah, I probably would. I think Wilkes needs a bit of time out, to be fair. He's getting a lot of stick and dog's coming in. Yeah, he's getting a lot of stick, and to be honest, I think quite rightfully, to be fair. He's a great player. He was great in League One for us, but he's lazy, isn't he? But I see a lot of people also slating McGuinness, but I don't think people realise quite what his game is this season. As you say, he's very much a holding player. He cuts the lines quite well. I mean, we watched him against Birmingham. We sit in the south stand. You can see what he was doing. There's people trying to cut in. He was blocking him. He was getting the ball and he was passing it on. I think a lot of people think because he's a striker, he should be getting the ball, holding the ball, smacking it. But with McGuinness, he passes it on. He gives it to the other players, which I think is great. But on the back of that, going back to Wilkes, I'd even try Tom Hughes with him. You look at how Tom Hughes was at Gillingham. He needs someone to hold up play for him so he can get into the spaces and be the jungle cat that we all know he can be. If not, Tyler Smith, he's 10 times quicker than McGuinness, and again they can play each other off like he does with Wilkes, but potentially even better. But not trying to go at Wilkes or anything. I think he's a great player. It's just this season, most recent 4 games, I think it's been, ironically, the ones where we've been winning, where he seemed a bit off it.
Yeah. The defence for Wilkes is that he can have like 88 minutes of being a passenger, but then produce a moment that can win a game. When he does them, like he scored a couple this season where he's not really played that great, but he still popped up with the goal. He's one of those players, but I think we've pointed out before, haven't we? Like the 4-3-3 system, he's playing a different way to his last season, and then in a 3-5-2, I don't think he really fits into it, which is maybe just he's going to be a casualty of the new system. But squeezing him into the team as a forward, I don't think it's going to work for him. There will be a point where we're struggling to score goals and we will need the front two to work together better. At the moment, we're okay because Honeyman's runs from deep are really coming good. You know what I mean? He's got, 4 goals and an assist this month, Honeyman? Or something like that?
3 goals and assists, I think. Yeah.
3 and an assist. Yeah, so 4 of the 7 goals we scored this month, has been through him. And it's like, if Wilkes is to be that partner to McGuinness, then he's got to find a new way to play in that front two for me. And which, to be fair, moves us on to Millwall then. So obviously we've got another tough game at home against for Millwall, looking at 4 wins in a row. Win 2-1, goals from Honeyman and Longman, which Nathaniel, as his name suggests, was long due. I would say this was the polar opposite to the Cardiff game, because I thought we absolutely dominated from minute 1 against Millwall, whereas Cardiff was more of a back to the wall, be structured, be solid. Millwall, we seemed to be very dangerous. Like, we had a couple of hairy moments in the second half, but over the course of the game, I thought we was fully in control. Would you agree, Nathaniel?
I was just thinking, no, I don't. I mean, I didn't see it. I was just listening to it. Maybe the first half, it was like quite an even game and we had more chances. We were better in the first half, but from how it sounded, I might be completely wrong, but after we scored the second goal, Millwall it felt like they were all over us and that they were putting on the pressure, especially towards the last 20 minutes or so. But I mean, maybe someone who watched the game could actually say that's not the case.
No, I thought the same in the ground. I thought at half time a draw was probably right, to be fair, because Millwall had looked decent. And I mean, it was a horrible mistake that gave them the equaliser in the first place, but you couldn't begrudge them for getting an equaliser at the time. And in the second half, after City went back in front, they seemed to just sit back and let Millwall come onto them, which I didn't get. And I don't know how Millwall didn't score, to be honest. They had some fantastic chances, and I think it was only people like Baxter that stopped them from getting anything out of the game in the end.
All right then, guys. Cheers for showing me up. So what we'll do then. Maybe the one criticism of the three at the back system at the moment is that obviously with the three defenders, when we've got the ball and the wing backs push on, we've got quite a high line. So their goal came from a passing behind is straight through on goal. So for you, Benedict, do you think that going forward, the 3-5-2 is going to be what McCann uses, and can we sort of is there a way to counter them goals from going in behind, or is that just going to be a occupational hazard with using this system?
I'd probably say that. I think the formation that we've got, it probably just allows us to take more risks, which obviously we have been doing. But I'd say even before their equaliser, not necessarily like getting in behind us from a high line, but there was times when they were pressing us really deep into our own half. We just couldn't really deal with it. Felt like for about a 10-minute period. So I think that's something that we need to work on, because I think it's happening quite a few matches this season. Not even when we've played the 3-5-2. But I think with the high line, I think it's probably something that obviously we hope will get better over time. But I think you're always going to get them sort of goals every now and then when you play this formation. It's sort of risk that you take. But I do think it was a great ball in behind. But obviously you can see Bernard does his best. It's a bit of a slip, but obviously a bit of a easy goal in the end. But
yeah,
we'll have to wait.
We've only conceded 2 goals this month, so it's one of them questions that it's not even really that much of a weakness at the minute, because it's not like we're shipping in goals for fun. Our goal difference is actually quite decent, suggesting given the amount of games that we've lost, I think we're only on -7, aren't we? But in terms of this system, for me, the midfield's crucial, and I think at the moment, Doherty, Honeyman, Smallwood have been absolutely fantastic. I think Doherty was man of the match for me against Millwall. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Honeyman scored, Longman scored, so he kind of gets overshadowed as it does with goal scorers. But do we think then Huddleston now being fit, given the option, do we keep? Is Smallwood keeping his place? There isn't really a reason to drop him, is there?
I'd probably say he does, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think people want Huddleston to come back just because of who he is, but I think Smallwood's had blinders past. I think it would say 5 games. Smallwood's been not class, obviously.
He's been quietly good, yeah.
I mean, I think the Birmingham. I keep going back to the Birmingham game, but watching him from the south stand, he was in control. He was on another level from the first 3 games of the season where he was slipping after Preston. He dripped off, but again, could that be due to the formation? Probably is.
I mean, they've both got completely different strengths. Obviously, Smallwood's more of a an Ashby type. He wants to be breaking up play. He don't want to do anything over elaborate. His strength isn't really passing. The only criticism you'd have of Smallwood at the minute is that some of his passes are a bit wayward, but you can forgive him when he controls the game as he does at the moment. Huddleston gives you. You see, the only thing really now that would be any excuse to get Huddleston in would be obviously when Smallwood has a bad game, maybe. But Huddleston gives us that them long range behind the balls. If you're looking at the likes of Lewis Potter and Longman running down the line, trying to get in behind and ask questions, and he's going to ping them long diags. But to be fair, you've got Greaves and Bernard that can do that in behind. So Huddleston's probably going to struggle to get back in the side. Like you say, Alfie Jones, I totally forgot about Alfie Jones, to be fair. He's been out for so long. He's going to struggle to get back in the back three because Sean McLaughlin's been amazing. Matt Ingram's going to struggle to get back in the team because Baxter's been amazing. I think I asked what Baxter's strengths were compared to Ingram last time, but I'm interested to know the thoughts of both the guests today. So why do you think that does Baxter have some sort of confidence that's just sort of contagious to the rest of the team? Does he command his area better? Is he quicker at distribution? Why is Baxter all of a sudden poster boy? What's he doing well?
I think you've just named the 3 reasons why, to be fair.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I think compared to Ingram, he's a lot louder. He's a lot more controlled.
Yeah.
I think Ingram looks a bit, I don't know, almost shy when he's talking to his defenders, where Baxter's come in and he was chucked in the deep end and he was just sublime. He was great. Very much a Peter Cech about him.
So obviously now we've got 4 wins in a row. I don't know what I'm doing there. In a row. We were all pretty much McCann out, weren't we? Let's all admit it.
Yeah, pretty much.
We were all in the family in the McCann out brigade.
Mhm.
I did a poll on Twitter because I wanted to know, given the new ownership, if it comes through, does Grant McCann deserve a chance now? We had 135 votes. 44% of people said yes. 32% said they were unsure, and 24% said no. So I'm going to go to each one of you and ask you what you believe. So, Will, given the takeover, does McCann get a chance, and how many games would you give him?
It's worth mentioning, I think I said on this podcast a couple of weeks ago, when the takeover stuff came out, I said, watch McCann go on a winning run.
Mm-hmm.
I did say that because it gives him one hell of a conundrum to action when if he does eventually take over. I don't think you can get rid of him at the moment, as much as you don't want him to be at the club. He's getting the results at the moment. He can't get 4 in a row and get sacked unless you do something bad. I mean, I don't see how you can justify. He's probably going to get manager of the month as well, which maybe means the form will go down. But
Absolutely.
you can't justify sacking someone when they're on such a good run. I understand, for his general time at City, his record is still absolutely fucking abysmal. But based on the here and now, you can't really justify it.
Yeah, it's a good point. What about you, Jamie?
If I'm honest, I think he deserves a chance, no matter how much it pains me to say. But my only worry is how long he's going to stick with his formation. If it stops working again, is he going to be stubborn in his ways that he always is, like he was with 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it? Is it going to be too late? Is he going to stick to 3-5-2, 3-5-2, 3-5-2? It ends up we're losing 6-0 again and stuff like that. Oh,
Yeah, we want to see tactical depth, don't we?
Yeah,
even
that's
if
the thing.
even if a certain system isn't working, you want to see him try and switch it up and not be what he was doing before and being like, no, this way works, so I'm sticking to it. Making changes too late. So yeah, I kind of get what you're saying there. I mean, does he play 3-5-2 till the ownership, till the takeover happens, and then resorts back, or we don't know if it's maybe orders coming from above.
I've seen a lot of people saying that. I've heard a lot of people saying, Ehab's gone up to him and said, you just do what you want. We're not bothered anymore. But
He's given up on the experiment.
I don't believe anything that I'm getting involved. He cares too much about his horse than he. He's rather more bothered about polo than his football.
Yeah, he's more like his Lambo.
Yeah, and his stupid little glorified granny scooter that he's got, that orange thing. Absolute nonsense. No, I don't think he knows anything about football. I cannot see him getting involved. I just think it's the way Grant likes to play. He's done it at Doncaster, he's done it at not Portsmouth.
Peterborough.
Pompey. Peterborough, that's the one, posh. And he's just stuck to it ever since. And now he's just, I think the players, more than anything, have said to him, look, Gaffer, this is what we like. I mean, Sean McLaughlin said it. I think Callum Elder said it. And I think even Greg Docherty said it. We want to be playing in a back three, 3-5-2, whatever. And I think he's actually listened to the players rather than some balding man. Personally.
I think the fact that the Cardiff game, he had the opportunity to go back to it when Elder went off injured, and he didn't. He stayed with it, playing a midfielder in the back three. I think pretty much says he's going to stick by you for now.
Yeah, like a sort of an epiphany moment. He's realised, do you know what? Yeah, this formation does work. Maybe I should use it. Kind of thing.
Bringing out the best of our two centre backs in it. To be fair, Jacob Greaves, he's come out of his shell. He's been good past 2 seasons now, hasn't he? Really, but in the back three, he seems so much more confident.
Yeah, the one thing I've loved about playing the back three is I just love how he just keeps going forward.
Maybe
they both do. They both have like 30-yard pops, don't they?
Probably should like learn when to do it.
I feel like at some point Greaves or Bernard are going to score a proper worldie if they carry on like this.
Yeah. Go on then, Nathaniel. What about you? What's your
I'm going to dodge the question completely. Ask me when the takeover actually happens, because
no, there's no dodging. You've got to answer right here, right now.
We could lose the next 2 games 8-0, and then I'd be McCann out.
The question's now, Nathaniel.
So I'd say
the ownership goes through tomorrow. Do you want him gone immediately?
Well, yeah, but if we're doing another podcast, then I'll answer it tomorrow. If it happens. I'm not going to say anything more on it until the takeover, because, it's been 4 very good wins, but, confidence is such a huge thing that maybe it's not just complete tactical change and he's a genius now. Maybe it's just that kind of, especially when you play 3 games in a week, it's more the confidence than him. So we'll see. It's been very promising, but if we get a few more wins before, well, it's probably going to be 2 games till the takeover. If we don't lose both, then I'll be happy. But McCann just halfway in between, in and out. Will that do?
That was the longest winded I don't know I've ever heard.
You can shake it all about, don't you?
Well, I do know. I've got too much pride to say I want it back in. It is like the hokey cokey. That's what they said on
Nathaniel,
Quest.
one of the choices was unsure. You could have just said that.
Yeah, unsure.
Right, I'm unsure.
Yeah, okay, we'll take that. What about you, Benedict?
Yeah, I think he's got to keep his job for the time being. I think it'd be pretty ridiculous. I think at the time of the takeover, you want a lot of stability, and I think if you just got rid of him for no reason, the players are obviously settled in this formation. The players might think, what on earth's going on here? We've obviously said that we want to be in a 3-back, and then there's no guarantee that the Shotter guy who's been linked is going to play that formation. He might not even have a clue about English football for all we know. So I think for now we've got to trust him and hope that this form does carry on. If we do have a dip, he'd obviously find a resolve for it. But I think he's earned his chance. Maybe I don't think you'd find anywhere any club sacking the manager after 4 straight wins.
I said it on the second tier that you can't sack him, like you say at the moment. There's no reason to. The biggest issue we had with him as a fan base was that he was playing a system that quite clearly wasn't working and refused to change it. So he's changed it, and now it's working. So do you know what I mean? We don't know why he changed. Well, obviously he changed it through injury, but he's decided to keep it. So to me, if the takeover goes through tomorrow, then absolutely, let's see what he does with maybe a bit of backing in January. See if he can prove to us that when this form ends, it's not going to go on another 10-game spree of not winning. We want to see, because the only worry with McCann is, and I said this to Baz, he could win 6 in a row. The moment he loses that next game, we're all at him again. He's just lost. He's lost his goodwill completely. That he has to pull off some magnificent feats now to win the fans back over. Because there's so many people that want him gone that they're just waiting for us to lose. Like, we can win, but as soon as we lose, then voices would be far louder than what we're currently seeing at the moment. So yeah, we've got to give him a chance. There is absolutely no reason we can get rid of him. I'm still firmly in the unsure, because I remember how I feel a few weeks ago. Obviously, we've got a few wins now, but if you look over McCann's tenure, even when we've done well last season, he sort of goes in patches. We don't sort of we don't win, loss, win. There's no spontaneous bit about it. Like we go on an unbeaten run, and then we'll go on a streak of not winning, and it's bizarre. So we just want to see some tactical depth. Well, I do. I want to see him, change it up when it's not working and quick. So as it stands, yeah, I'm firmly in his count. So we touched on manager of the month. That was going to be my next thing. So obviously this month we played West Brom, Barnsley, Birmingham, Cardiff, and Millwall. We lost 1-0 to West Brom, but played very well. And then we've won the rest. Is he going to win manager of the month? Do we think?
He's on the best form. I mean, we're on the best form of any other championship team, so technically he should.
I mean, if QPR are winning right now, then they will win. But I think he should do.
Because then we've got the dreaded manager of the month curse for next month. But I mean, you see, the thing is we won we won 4 in a row now, and we've got Reading and then Bristol City after, which to me, especially on current form, are both winnable games. And it's weird that I'm looking at a game and I'm actually expecting us to win. Like I don't remember this feeling. So with the Reading game, then, Will, they've only really got. I've had a look at a few of the stats. There's only really one threat in their team, and that's Swift. He's got 8 goals and 9 assists, and then the rest of the team are like far behind.
Don't say that.
Andy Carroll's crunching early doors. Andy Carroll to get in with. Would we take a point from Reading?
Yes, because I just wanted to keep our unbeaten run going. Really, I'll take a point now. Obviously, I know we're above them now. We're above them now in the table, which feels weird to say. It's still by points. We're ahead of them. So, but
it's just because they can't count. They can't sort the money out. They've played brilliantly this season. To be fair to Reading, early in the season,
they have.
They've got a good squad.
They have got a decent squad. But I think I would definitely take a point at this stage already because
they're a bit.
As well. I think they beat Fulham early in the season, didn't they?
I think they did, yeah. Well, their form this month is that they played 5. They've won 2, drawn 1, lost 2. So, pretty balanced. To me, I'd take a point, but I fully believe that we can win. So, system-wise then, team-wise, do we change it, Jamie? Do we keep it the same? Is there anybody that you'd bring in?
I'd probably keep it the same, to be fair. I think unless obviously it stops working, I'd adapt to it. But no, I think if we stick to a 3-5-2, mix it up, maybe drop Wilkes, play someone else. I think we've got give him good time. To be fair, they are a good team though. That's the problem. But it's one of them, isn't it? You just don't know what you're gonna get with Reading.
Yeah, it's a tough game. Like we can go there and churn out an awful performance and lose 1-0, or current momentum can take us through. I honestly believe we'll win. And it's weird. It's weird saying that. It's really weird saying that.
If he makes any daft changes, he needs a slap. It's going to be one of the games where we're all thinking, we need to get a point, or win, and he'll drop Greaves, or he'll drop Baxter, or one or two players who are playing phenomenally, and he'll put on someone who's just not playing in ages. Like when he brings on Moncur, he's not played for like 4 games, brings him on, expects him to be a world beater, and takes off on him.
Yeah.
For him, it's just That's what doesn't make sense about Grant with me. But I think we can take it to him. I think we can give him a good showing. I don't know. I'll be happy with the draw.
So over the next 2 games, then. So let's branch it out to Reading and Bristol, because Bristol are only just above us. Oh yeah, they are only just above us, aren't they?
Yeah.
So in terms of them 2 games being teams around us that we should be looking to win at least. Would we take 2 points from that? Would 2 draws be okay?
I'd take 4.
4 is a minimum, are we saying?
I'd take 6.
I think we can take 4.
Well, yeah. We're aiming.
Score again.
Yeah. An absolute minimum take 2, but I would hope we get 4 at least. Yeah.
Because see, the worry for me is that we come out of these 2 games and we've drawn them both, and maybe didn't play as well in them both, and then the murmurs start again, where it's like, we missed a few chances, we looked a bit leaky, kind of thing. Grand scale is we're 6 unbeaten, but then we played poorly in the last 2, and then that can kind of get focused on, and you don't want to lose the momentum, kind of thing. And to me, like we said, the team and the system is going to be kept the same. But do you think he'll actually ever have the audacity to drop Wilkes, Benedict? Why do you think Wilkes keeps playing? This is a question I'm going to ask absolutely everybody that comes on this podcast because we can't understand why. So why does he keep playing? And if you had the chance to drop him, who would you bring in instead of?
I honestly have no idea why he's still playing. I think, like you said earlier, the only reason that he's playing is he's very much one of these off-the-cuff players where he'll have an absolute shock and then he'll just produce a moment of brilliance. I genuinely can't think any other reason. I think if it was someone to come in, it would have to be probably in because we've got McGuinness there already. I'd probably say Tyler Smith, and obviously Tyler Smith when he's played, he obviously presses the back four. He's got the willingness, which is something that Wilkes doesn't seem to have at the minute. So I think obviously Smith will be annoyed that he's not really had much of a chance. So I think he'd be really hungry to prove himself as well. But then the same could be said for Tommy. So I just think anyone in his place would probably do a better job at the minute. It's weak. I think if he was one of the players that put a shift in, no one would complain. But it's genuinely the fact that he doesn't.
Yeah.
The issue, but there's no questioning his ability. Because on his days, he's a decent player at this level. Like when we got relegated, he's probably one of our better players in the second half of that season when he came. But it's just, I think it's his attitude, and I think he's probably got to be dropped to prove that he's not undropped, that he's not what he thinks he is. I think that's a problem.
Like a kick up the arse kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Because we asked Baz about it before, and to me, he looks bulkier. Like he doesn't necessarily look. Yeah, he doesn't necessarily look overweight. He just looks like he's changed his entire
fitness rate.
Yeah, because he seems stockier. He's running in behind less. He's wanting to hold it up and back himself into the defenders more often, and it's weird because like he scored over 20 goals last season doing what he did. So do we think that he's done this personally, or maybe if the club asked him to do it, Nathaniel? What do you think? Why is Wilkes hench now? What's he doing?
Well, I mean, it absolutely 100% has to be something that they've at least discussed with the club and McCann, because they have fitness tests all the time, and so if they Wilkes showed up after the summer twice the size, McCann would be like, well, I didn't tell you to do that. They'd know. So I guess maybe because it's a tougher physical league, so maybe they want him to be bigger so he can deal with big defenders possibly, but it's not working. They should just go back. It's just we keep having this conversation about Wilkes, and it's so annoying because we were having similar conversations like on Twitter last year, where the first half, he was scoring, but he wasn't playing hugely well, and then the second half, especially towards the end, he was getting a lot more assists and he was getting involved more, and his decision making improved. So I thought, oh well, he's finally got it. He's playing to the best of his ability, and now he's regressed again, and it's so frustrating because I keep saying it. We know he can do it, but maybe he does need to be dropped. For him to realise he's got to change something up.
Yeah, I mean, because I was looking at the squad, and I'm trying to think of like other ways to do it in like given injury, because you don't really want to be playing Eves and McGuinness up top together. Because I think the problem with the new system is having two up front as well as wing backs. We're sort of, because you want KLP on the pitch, you've got to have him as a wing back in that sense, unless you put him up front.
Play him up front.
I was about to say you can play him up front and play Elder at left wing back.
I was going to say the same.
I was literally about to ask that question, Will.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Longman and KLP that I think easily could play as part of a front two alongside McGuinness, and then you've got Elder that's fit now that can play as a wing back. I think Elder would probably give us something. It wouldn't be as great. Well, I say he's not as great offensively. He got many assists last season, so maybe a wing back would be a revelation for Elder. But I don't think he's got as much energy as the other two to be bombing up and down. Yeah. Maybe no. So when we're getting him down the line and he's on the edge of their box, he's not going to ask as many questions. He's not going to run at the full back as much as KLP or Longman. But the good thing is that in this system, we've got players that are versatile. We've got players. I mean, he played Huddleston in centre back and it worked. We've got Alfie Jones that can play in the back three or in midfield. We've got Moncur that could probably do pretty much anywhere in the midfield if we wanted to. I'm pretty sure he could do a job as a wing back. He wouldn't be as pacey, but if you wanted him towards the end of the game to stick some crosses in, he'd be a good option there. You got players that can play on the wing or up front. I think this is the reason why we've been crying out for this system. Now, forgotten players, Matt Smith.
Who?
Like he just vanished off the face of the earth at one point, didn't he? We've got him that's to come back in. Alfie Jones to come back in. Josh Emmanuel, Louis Coyle. So now, let's say now that we've got a fully fit squad, no injuries, no concerns, we can pick our strongest 11. And I'll open this to everybody, just pitch in. Do we play this current system, or do we have to go back to the other one to get our strongest lineup? What is our strongest team at the moment? What system do we play? This is all hypothetical because at the moment what we're doing is working.
It's the one that played. It's pretty much the one that played against Millwall. I would say is our strongest team at the moment. The way that they're playing is the best that the team's playing. These last 4 games are the best the team's playing all season. You can't.
So no Emmanuel, no Coyle, no Elder.
Yeah, it's weird to say because it feels weird saying that a team with no fullbacks has been our best team. But the way they're playing, it has.
There's only one of them
Coyle
I
up
mentioned
front.
that I'd potentially chuck in, and that'd be Emmanuel. I think he'd be quite good at wing back.
Yeah, I think he would as
He's
well.
got
To
the
be
pace,
fair,
he's got the strength.
I think he would have had the chance, but
Can't drop
whatever.
Roman. Disgraceful.
I think what he was going to get the chance, but that illness just cut it short. Yeah.
There's also Williams as well. That tackle,
Yeah.
that was
Randall
a
Williams,
sterling
yeah.
tackle.
I wouldn't mind
Considering
seeing
he's a
him maybe
skinny
playing up from Wim McGuinness.
Yeah, he's versatile as well.
That's
He
a
can play
shout,
both
to be
sides, can't he, to be fair?
I think I'd prefer Williams in a wing back situation and maybe put KLP or Longman up top.
Yeah,
So I think
maybe.
Williams is, yeah. I
Or
mean,
even
Williams was one of them players that I was really looking forward to see play because he got some impressive stats for Exeter. And I know it was League 2, but he's still got to do it, and he had some
He
impressive
always
stats
looks
down
sharp
there.
when he comes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be one of these that was going to be, contesting the first team all the time. And we've hardly seen anything of him either. I think, we mentioned it before, didn't we? All the new signings we made, and none of them seem to be getting into the side. And it's like, well, we've obviously not improved the squad because if you've made all these signings, you signed them as squad players. But now,
I mean,
obviously,
I think Nathaniel will disagree.
Longman's
Well, it's
got
only
it.
the loan players playing at the moment, right? The new ones. Bernard,
Bernard,
Longman.
That's the Benedict Longman, yeah.
What was the game before Barnsley? I can't remember what game it was. But it
From
was
West Brom.
literally the
West
same-
Brom.
West Brom. I think that was exactly the same lineup that we played bar Reece Burke in November last season, I think. They were all playing in League One. I think. It was either West Brom or the game before that. I think that's
Yeah, we did have a game not long
We've had
ago
a
where
few
it
like
was
that.
our
Yeah.
there was a game, where it was our last season squad.
It's like you say, Moncur, Williams, they disappeared for ages. Matt Smith's dropped off the planet, dropped off the face of the earth. And it's only recently where Baxter's come in and he said he was his number 1 target. So
Yeah, I honestly think
He's a
Chelsea
strange
intervened with the Baxter situation. I think that
Probably.
they've said,
I hope
we
so.
sent him there to be your number 1 and he's not playing, so we'll bring him back and send
Yeah.
him somewhere else if you don't play him, kind of thing.
You don't just randomly switch keepers because he's training well. You don't
Yeah, but
do
it's-
that.
It was before an international break as well. He said, I've sat down and had a word of Ingram to give him a rest. He's got 2 weeks off now, so what's the point?
I was going to say he's also
Goalkeepers.
it's
All that ground
it's
they
a long
cover.
rest.
Yeah.
It's a long rest because he's
He
not played
thinks we're
since.
stupid.
Unless he just look after his immaculate hairstyle, maybe. I don't know.
Hey, we say that, but do you remember when we played Man U in the Premier League and McGregor covered much more ground than Ben Arthur?
That doesn't surprise me. It's never
Is that a surprise? Yeah.
I think that was
so-
a mistake as well.
There's not much else to talk about then at the minute because we're doing well, and I can't find any. I'm digging deep to try and find some negatives to try and throw a curveball in, but we haven't got any, and that's good. But say then January's
there's a negative.
January's coming up. We have a few players that may or may not be gaining some attention from Premier League or certainly some higher end Championship clubs. Like think of the likes of KLP, Jacob Greaves. They're going to be especially, I think there was rumours that Norwich were looking at Greaves at the minute, weren't they? But then Dean Smith came out and said that they weren't. So maybe that was dispelled.
Another Burnsy special, that was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, but you see, the worry for me is that Jacob Greaves, if you think about Premier League teams at the minute, a lot of them do want to play out from the back kind of thing. He's a left-footed ball-playing centre-half. He does fit the mould for, what some Premier League teams will be looking for, and that's the worry. Say the new takeover goes through, which obviously we hope it does. What's our priorities? Are we tying the likes of KLP and Greaves down to longer contracts? Are we signing the loanees permanently? Where do we look to strengthen? What do we need to do come January? I'll throw this one to Benedict.
I think we definitely probably need another centre back, just as cover, maybe an experienced one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And probably another striker.
Yeah.
I can't really think of it. Can't really think of anything else.
Is there anyone you'd let go?
Nah.
He's difficult. Like even the players, like even Wilkes, he's not played badly, but you wouldn't get rid of him. So I don't think you get rid of anyone at the minute, because everyone's going to have to play the part at some point, especially in this formation, the way we're playing at the minute with the intensity.
And then what about any of the loanees? Would you sign all of them permanently or just one or two?
I'd definitely sign Baxter and Bernard permanently. Matt Smith, I think, at the start of the season, it's weird. Matt Smith at the start of the season, he was actually playing all right, but obviously...
He was playing very
well. I think you've forgotten one,
Benedict. There's all the questions about his fitness since he come back from international duty as well, which raises a bit of an eyebrow, whether that's
when it all changed.
Down to the
strange
Welsh
one,
national
wasn't it?
team. Obviously, I'd probably look at getting Longman again as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, for any of the audio listeners there, we weren't laughing at what Benedict was saying. We was laughing because Benedict said he'd signed Bernard and Baxter permanently and didn't mention Longman. So obviously Nathaniel was horrified. Yeah.
So red. No, yeah, I agree. I'd get my main priority. I think firstly would be get those loan players, particularly those three, signed up. My first priority. I'll try and get them for maybe another season on loan. Extend the loan.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? We don't know what kind of money, we don't know what kind of budget we're going to have. So it's all speculation.
Even, to be honest, though, as well, and £1 is a higher budget than we currently have.
That is true.
So I agree with Benny. I think we need to focus on getting a striker in. Definitely need to focus on getting a striker in. Instead of playing, if we're going to play someone when we get it, we need someone who's going to score goals and going to play regularly. And if he's not willing to play Tyler Smith to try that, we need to see who's available out there.
But then you see, I'm going to counter that because I don't think we will sign a forward. And I'll give you the reason why. And because if we're playing this current system, we've got Tom Eaves and McGuinness, which are very similar forwards. So they're going to be their like-for-like changes. And then we've got Smith and we've got a certain Mr. Wilkes that's playing as a striker at the minute.
You don't think the new Turkish lads don't want to bring in Burak Yilmaz? Really?
But McCann's not going to play Yilmaz above Wilkes.
No, yeah.
But see, for me, that's two strikers that he's going to rotate as part of the front two. Well, they can rotate. You've got KLP and Longman that can play up front. And then you've got a variety of players that can play on the wing if we had to, or wing back. I don't think he will sign a forward unless we get rid of someone. And I've actually liked his application this season, but I think we're going to look to move Eaves on, personally.
That wouldn't surprise me, though. I don't want him to, but I won't be surprised.
Because we all wanted to see Eaves and Smith as the front two partnership, because we know Eaves is better with a partner, and Smith fit the bill for the in behind, clean up the knock on. But Eaves isn't playing at all at the minute. He's not getting sniff. McGuinness is doing his job well. Unless he's happy playing second fiddle, I don't think he is, because there was rumours of Eaves getting moved on in summer. Would you keep him? Would you move him on, Jamie? What's your thoughts on Eaves?
I think he deserves to move on, to be fair. I think he's come on he's not really been given a chance. He's been taken off, not been put back in the team for a couple of games, been brought back on to expect to score bundles of goals. It ain't going to happen. You can't, with strikers, they need regularity. They need to be firing on all cylinders. And if he's getting cut in and out of the team, he ain't going to score a goal. I reckon we'll get not thousands of pounds from him. I think we'll get a decent whack from a League One team, maybe even a League Two team, maybe. But I don't think he'll go for more than $1 million if we do get rid of him. No,
I mean, Eves is one of them that we won't be moving him on because he's bad. I mean, for the majority of the time he's been here, he hasn't fit the system that we play.
Exactly.
And then now that we have got a system that suits him, we can't fit him in the team. So, if anything, it's going to be a try and move him on so he can actually start playing football again. Probably for the better for both clubs because he don't want to be here not playing. So I'd like to see him go and free up a spot, but also for the benefit of his own career because he's a good guy and obviously we want to see him go and play football again. And then we can look at signing a forward. You see, the thing is the transfer market nowadays is madness because post-COVID, player prices are they're all over the shop, aren't they? They're either too expensive or they're free agents because they've not been able to afford to renew the contract. So you got to try and utilise the loans. You've got to try and look at your free agent market because you don't want to be spending over the odds for a player that's not going to work, especially not a championship. And you've got FFP. If you look at Derby, who were, I think some of them numbers were scary. When you think if they're going down, which is very likely, that they're in serious trouble.
I think it's 163 million they're in that.
Was Lawrence's wage like 30k a week?
I think it's more than our squad put together.
Yeah,
it's like double that and
double 60k a week at Derby. Never.
He was like 37.
Yeah, scored against.
That was a pay cut.
I don't even think he's that good, Tom Lawrence. I think he's very overrated. But I don't think there's anything else left to talk about. I mean, now that we've got you two on, I'll ask you about the takeover. Are you looking forward to it? Is there some reservations you've got? What's your overall views on it?
I'm fairly optimistic, to be fair. Obviously, Atkins apparently makes us some very good footballers. I've heard he's best mates with Mesut Ozil and Cenk Tosun, so we need a striker. Mr. Tosun's available, playing a game. But no, I'm optimistic. He's saying all the right things at the moment, isn't he? But who knows in 3 years what's going to happen? But it can't be as bad as it is at the moment.
I think even the takeover news, it seems like, even though it's not confirmed yet, you go to City every week for the last few weeks, and it's not really been much negativity. I think it's sort of due to obviously what's going on, but I think you see that he's more open in like the last 3 or 4 weeks than THAB has been for the last 7 years. So that can only be a good thing. I think it's clear that he probably wants to engage with the supporters and the local media and get all them back on side. And I think, judging by his initial what he's doing at the minute, I think it's going to be a positive. But then obviously, you never know what's going to happen. That's why I don't get the be careful what you wish for comments because you're not going to know until what's happened. So I think I think now we've just got to wait and see where it takes us.
I think the most important thing is he's a football fan. He's a football man. Where Ian and Athens, they're in a completely different industry. He
has an idea.
Yeah, he knows how to cater to the football fans. He understands where we're coming from. The whole traditional side of the game and needing to consult your fan base because at the end of the day, they're your customers, they're your loyal fans. They'll be there every week. So hopefully he comes through with some of the promises he's done. I think he's been mentioning about being more accommodating to some of the community, trying to encourage kids and families to come back, maybe stretch out to some schools and things like that and get tickets and start filling the stadium out again, which we all would want to see. It's not nice seeing the case. The MKM now it's half empty all the time. So hopefully the attendances start crawling back up again once he takes over. I think there'll be a few come back straight away, and then it'll be a slow process to get everybody else back while they try and recover their love for the game again. Because if you think about it, there's been a lot of fans that have not attended for years and will have found other things to do on weekends and just basically just can't be bothered anymore. So it's going to be a long process, but hopefully he's the guy that brings it back, and better times are on the horizon. So that's pretty much covered everything. I think your HCAFC hub then, Benedict. Have you got anything coming up? Is there anything planned for that? I mean, it's podcast primarily, isn't it? But you are looking for
weekly podcasts. We do have a website as well, obviously, but been a bit slow doing the articles. I've just started uni, and Tom's been a bit busy every now and then as well. So we are still looking for contributors. Well, I mean, I think we're looking at starting YouTube as well, branching out to different audiences, looking to get more guests involved in the podcast as well. So if anyone wanted to get involved, just message our Twitter account, which is at HCFC Hub. And that's pretty much it.
Spot on. Right, cheers for coming on then, guys. It's been nice. I'll certainly I'll drop you a message if you ever want to come back on again, if we need the podcast to be filled, because Joel and Matt are part-timers now. So cheers everyone for coming on. Cheers everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Cheers for having us.
Cheers.
See you later, guys.
Cheers, guys.